So, Tommy, congratulations on your upcoming fight. That must be quite exciting. It's quite interesting to see the career you've had. It's not been, 100% wins constantly, but you seem motivated as ever for your upcoming fight. Talk to me about how overcoming those challenges of some losses, especially early on into your career, and how that's like driven you to keep going. Because there are a lot of fighters who would have that fight come up, have a tough loss, another tough loss, and then they just give up. They'd be like, it's not for me anymore. But you seem to really push yourself forward, and you're now riding a 2-fight win streak, looking for a third, coming off an insane win with a rare submission.
Thank you.
Talk to us about how it feels coming up to this fight and how pushing forward's been for you.
I'm really excited for this fight personally. In my opinion, the losses don't really matter so much, as they were so early on in my career, and I fought some nails guys. So it hurts at the time, but I feel like I've learned a lot from that, and it's given me thicker skin. If you can bounce back from 4 first-round losses, you can bounce back from anything. Do you know what I mean? And I think, give it a couple years, people will look at my resume and they'll go, fucking hell, this guy did not quit. And I feel like that will play into their psyche a little bit.
Well, speaking of those couple losses, I think what's impressive is the fact that not only have you overcome those losses, but each loss, it's not like you've come back and you've looked terrible and you've looked like you're not supposed to be there. Yeah. You look like a fighter who's meant to be there. You've got incredible technique, you've got beautiful kicks, which you've shown in every single fight. You've used, it seemed to be in the beginning of your career, grappling seemed to be not a weakness, but a deficit to your skill set. Yeah. Whether you've shown in your recent performances that you can grapple, and it's not you're not a one-trick pony. And with your upcoming opponent, he's someone who also seems that he's very interested in going for takedowns. He likes to make it a bit dirty against the Kents, use that pocket boxing against the cage, and really trying to make you work for it. With your upcoming opponent, how have you adapted your training camp to deal with kind of a pressure boxer who likes to grapple you against the cage and make it a dirty fight?
Yeah, the thing is with Saarn Chambers, is he loves a scrap, and that's so exciting. I feel like this is going to be the first proper fight I have. But I just don't feel like he's on the same level as me, and I dare him to take me down, because I'll get straight back up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays into his brain when his game plan doesn't really work out. And he loves a left hand, so I'm looking forward to punishing for that.
Speaking of his left hand, obviously he doesn't again have the most positive record, but he's shown in every single fight that if he can land that left hand, it can land. Yeah. And especially he's got some brutal ground and pound. He's a very impressive fighter, but your kicks, it seems to be, especially everyone who's seen your previous fights, you're very good at distance management with your kicks, especially against someone who likes to bring you in close, like fight a bit dirty. Do you want to keep that kind of distance, or are you also using this as an opportunity to show, you know what, I'm not just like a Yair Rodriguez. I can stay on the outside, I can throw sharp kicks, I've got really nice straight shots, I can shoot a takedown. But you're also if things need to happen, I can show you that I'm not just running from you. I can put pressure on you. I can hurt you. Is this an opportunity for the people who have doubted you in your career to really show them there's a reason you're still here and there's a reason you're on a win streak?
Yeah, without a doubt, I am going to be fighting Saarn Chambers. There's not going to be any evasive movement this time. I'm going to stick it on him from the bell. That's all I've got to say, really.
So you've used a lot of social media in the build-up, not just to this fight, but your whole career. You seem to be having incredible success with that, with your reels averaging between 7,000 and 15,000 views, which is very, very impressive, particularly for an amateur fighter. Yeah. Do you think it's really important for amateur fighters to build themselves a name and a brand prior? Because you see a lot of fighters come into their careers and just they're fighting 20 times, but then they've got 200 followers on Instagram. Yeah. No one knows who they are, and then they peak at the prelims of Cage Warriors, and then they may be skilled, but they don't do anything. Yeah. Do you find that utilizing social media is helping you not only reach more people, but in a way get advance your skills with more opportunities, more people in contact? It's just an advancement of your whole game.
Yeah, I think there's so many great fighters, and how do you set yourself apart from these great fighters if you don't have a brand? Like, if let's say there's two fighters at the same level in terms of skill, but one's got 20k followers and the other one's got 200, it's easy who the promotion are going to want to fight for them. It makes sense. Like, they need to sell tickets. It's a business. I think modern MMA now is going to change, where you're seeing a lot of people, big followings coming into the sports. Everyone else who's just like lazy and can't be bothered to build that brand, they're just going to be left behind. And it is what it is.
Speaking of, building a brand and just becoming like the face promoters want, the British MMA scene Instagram has you pinned on there for your submission with your SULOEV stretch. Yeah. How does that feel to know that a huge account, especially for regional British fighters, has not only just addressed your incredible win, but really showing people this isn't just oh look, I've posted this, that's cool. This is something to look at. Does that give you even more motivation to just be like, this early on in your career, you're already turning heads? Mm-hmm. So in 5 years' time, do you really envision yourself and plan to, you want to be not the next Conor McGregor, but the first Tommy Day?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not actually really surprised that I'm turning heads. I've always known that I'm going to do well in this game. And to be honest, I think it's inevitable. It's just going to keep getting better and better and better. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight, there's more stuff out there. I just think that's the way it's going to go.
Is there any... we spoke briefly about kind of your, not to give anything away, your game plan and kind of your tactics leading into this fight. You seem like a fighter who likes to make sure they know their opponent. Do you think that knowing your opponent and really studying tape and being a listener as a student is a core skill?
I think that studying your opponent at amateur is 50-50. In 6 months, so much can change. So take tape at this level with a pinch of salt.
We just spoke briefly about how, being the first Tommy Day and turning heads. When you first, were introduced into MMA or a particular martial art, was there a particular fight or fighter in any martial art? Even I know people who watched the Bruce Lee movies when they were younger and that inspired them. Was there someone who, maybe not that you just like connect with, but they turned your head into the sport?
Yeah. No, 100%. I remember the first time I ever saw MMA, I was at someone's house and they put on Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor #1. And I just remember Nate Diaz choking him out with blood all over his face, and I was like, where the hell do I sign up? I want to do this now.
I mean, you've shown in your career that you're willing to kill or be killed at times, especially in those tough losses. It's not, you see some fighters, they get put in a submission that they can escape and they just, you know what, I'm done. But you've shown, I'm going to fight until I literally can't anymore. I think it's quite impressive how you've grown in your career, even for this rewatching every single one of your fights, even months apart. I'm talking like 5-6 months at a time, completely evolution in your game. You've leveled up in so many aspects. Do you actively make sure that each time you're in camp and out of camp, you're learning as much as possible and maintaining that fight ready at any time? Because there's a lot of other fighters who, they put on weight outside of camp, and they kind of like, there's famously Cyril Gane in the UFC who doesn't actually do any like new drills and techniques outside of camp. Do you find it really important to like be dedicated to the game outside of camp?
Yes, the reason why I'm supremely confident in this game is because I am training all the time. Out of camp, in camp. This Christmas, for example, I trained like I was training normally during Christmas. When everyone was at home eating food, enjoying time with their family, I was going on 10, 15k runs, training. And that's what gives me confidence. I feel like that's so important. That's why I didn't get fat. That's why I'm in good shape now. People are saying, oh, you look skinny, like, after Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need that. That's how you set yourself apart. So many people just go, I'm not going to train. I've done my hard work. I'll be in here Monday after March the 15th, watching at least.
Because I think it's something, it shows something about you that you're not only just a student of the game, you're also, for like the beginners MMA classes here at Gym 01, you're actively teaching and helping people. Do you find that helping people enter this sport and even learn the fundamentals has also helped your game? Because I find from an outside perspective, watching someone do something and analysing that gives you more knowledge. Not more knowledge, but additional knowledge than just repeating it. And I feel like it seems like something you have an edge over a lot of your opponents because they're just students of the game, but you're also a student and a coach of the game.
Yeah. There's actually so many times that I've gone to teach something and I've gone, that makes sense, because I'm actually putting myself in a position where I have to put it in a sequence in my head and then show it to someone in an easy to understand way. I've learned so many things, and sometimes students go, well, what about this? Why doesn't this work? How come I can't do this? And you got to think about it and you go, yeah, I think you're right. So I feel like teaching and coaching gives you a different outlook on the game you don't get from just being a student.
Obviously, you're a young fighter. A combat sport athlete's prime seems to be between 29 and 34. Given that's plenty of time for you to grow and improve, where do you see yourself in around 10 years' time?
In 10 years' time, I see myself in the big leagues. I can't say which one because the choice isn't in your hands, but I'll be fighting for belts.
Well, Tommy Day, thank you for this interview. We hope to see a great performance from you and your opponent on SHOCKnAWE 38 on March 15th. Thank you.
Thank you.